Happy New Year, everyone. At the time of this recording, it is the 30th of December 2025. But when you're watching this, it is already 1st of January 2026. So I hope you had a great New Year's Eve and I wish you a very good Happy New Year. And if you've watched my video yesterday where I kind of reflected on 2025, I also kind of told you that I want to add a new habit or a new tool into my way of saving money. You see, last week was Christmas, and before that, there also had been a lot of YouTube videos that basically, together with the thought of kind of gifting someone else stuff, you also obviously sparked the idea of gifting yourself, right? And there is a lot of videos about new cameras. For example, I'm craving the DJI Neo, right? Or new retro gaming devices. I'm still rocking the RG35XX Plus, favorite device. I also have the RG40V or something. A terrible naming scheme, I know, from Anbernic. But I'm kind of craving the flippy thingy from Anbernic or from Neo. And yeah, again, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and you spiral down this rabbit hole of wanting to buy new stuff, right? Or today I was playing Magic the Gathering with a friend over Spell Table. If you are a Magic the Gathering fan, let me know. I love that game. I'm not able to play as much as I would like, but obviously we played. There is this no avatar cards, and I was kind of looking into, okay, maybe I can get a cheap old commander deck that is kind of out of date or something. And I was like, oh, you don't have that much time to play anyways. And as I've always mentioned in my videos, just use what you have available. Don't kind of cave into gear acquisition syndrome. But truth be told, and I admittedly find it very hard, I think of, oh, maybe I get that, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. And honestly, with the main channel where I do a lot of reviews, I'm kind of fueling or pouring gasoline on the fire of gear acquisition syndrome. Obviously, the videos that are product based, especially on my main channel or also on this channel, as soon as I review a product, I can see so much more people watching that video, and there is a huge demand of wanting to buy new stuff, right? And I'm admittedly also kind of tempted always to buy new stuff. So I want to kind of implement a new tool or methodology of saving money in the next year. Obviously, I pride myself to be very good with kind of creating savings and stuff like that. Obviously, if you know, last year I had this client that didn't pay me. It created this huge legal battle that is still ongoing. So fortunately, I had savings, because without those savings, I would not have been able to survive last year. And so that's why I pride myself to being very good and creating safety pockets. So one of those things that I implemented is obviously having a fixed amount of money always going off my account into a savings account automatically. So it becomes basically second nature that there is always a savings account that is for those emergency situations, but also obviously as a freelancer, you always need to put money aside for taxes. A huge chunk of what you earn is not your money. And that is something that many freelancers, especially in the beginning, sometimes forget, and they overspend without saving stuff or money for taxes. So I have personally, I believe, a very good system, but that system is basically automatic and not really meant to kind of tame my gear acquisition syndrome. So I thought, okay, in order not to spend money for stuff that I probably don't need. Again, I do have a gaming device. There's no need for me to buy a new gaming device. I do have a good camera. I do have an action camera, and I do have the DJI Pocket 3. All good cameras. There's no need to buy anything new. But that's easier said than done. And I'm the first one to admit that, yes, I give you all of this advice, or not advice. I hesitate to call whatever I'm saying as advice, but rather recommendations based on my life experience. So you do you and do whatever you like. But again, I admit that not caving into gear acquisition syndrome, not caving into watching all of those reviews and then kind of think, oh, maybe I could buy that, is harder, as easier said than done, right? So my new practice or tool that I have been actually doing for the last few months, 2 to 3 months actually, is to kind of replace that dopamine hit by clicking the buy button and replacing that with something else. So for me, if you probably noticed this already, for me, it's all about replacing one thing for another to kind of get away from bad habits. My phone, love it. Doom scrolling is something that I wanted to get out of my life as much as possible. And it wasn't about, okay, I'm not going to doom scroll. That is difficult. So I replaced doom scrolling with retro gaming, having a small device with me in addition to my phone in order to be able to replace doom scrolling with something, let's say, I don't want to kind of argue that it's more productive, but it's much better instead of just scrolling and passively kind of consuming, let's be real, AI slop, AI content, or even if it's real content in air quotes, is it actually beneficial to your life? So I replaced that with doing something actively, either playing a puzzle game or playing a beat 'em up. Yes, that's probably not the best, but it's actively doing something. So when it comes down to buying, I now, and this is not financial advice because I have no clue about what's the English word, stocks or ETF things. I just got into that. I have no clue about that. But what I thought, or my train of thought, is instead of buying something that is probably not needed, I don't need that, or buying something that is unnecessary. Instead of doing that, I replaced that emotion of putting something in my shopping cart and then pushing buy. I use that money. So for example, I see this Commander deck. I see it is on sale, Magic the Gathering Commander deck, 33 euros. And instead of buying that deck, I told myself, okay, nope, not going to buy that. I take exactly that amount, 33 euros, and I put that into either a saving account, but it has to be a very conscious motion of actually doing a bank transfer from one place to another. It has to be that deliberate. Or, and that is something that I just try out, and again, not financial advice, but I put those 33 euros in stocks. Again, I have no idea about stocks, and it's probably not the best way that I do it, but I feel like, and yes, you could lose money as well, but I could also lose money by buying stuff that I don't need. So it's somewhat of a gamble in a way, buying stocks or ETF. I don't know what the English word is, ETF stocks thingies. And buy 33 euros of either stocks or ETF. Again, I really want to emphasize, I have no clue what I'm doing. I know, everything that I know about that is either from friends or some tutorials. But the thought process here is for me to, instead of buying something that I probably don't need or that will gather dust, I buy something in the hopes that I either if I put it on a savings account, I can save it, or in the hopes if I buy some stocks or ETF that all of the money that I'm saving there potentially, what's the word? Is increasing in worth. So that's my thought process. Again, it's probably not the efficient way that I do it, but for me, it's all about kind of exchanging something for something else. And probably if I would put my mind to it, I'd probably do it a little bit better. And I'm not investing in crypto because honestly, I have way too many crypto bros not as friends, but somewhere around me. And honestly, I cannot listen. If you are a crypto bro, I'm not going to I don't want to disrespect you personally, but the people that I know that are all into crypto, I don't know. I just don't vibe with that. It's just something maybe it's something personal with those people, or the way that they approach it, and they trying to kind of lure me into their crypto things. And to me, it sounds like some Ponzi scheme, to be quite honest sometimes. But I have no clue. So, but with stocks, I feel like, if I buy some Nvidia stocks, for example, or I don't know, I'm all about Asia lately, buy some Samsung stocks or whatever it might be, I feel like, yes, I could lose money, but I also could lose money by just buying some more Magic the Gathering cards that I probably don't play with and they just gather dust, So for me, it's this motion of, instead of pushing the buy button on some web store, I'm pushing transfer money to this savings account, or transfer money to this ETF savings plan or whatever, and doing something to put money away instead of wasting it away. So that is my plan. Again, probably not as efficient as it could be, but it's more efficient than buying something that I don't need, And again, it's all about replacing one thing for another, because I know from experience, if I would just tell myself, okay, I'm not going to buy this, then somehow those 33 euros that I just mentioned that I didn't want to utilize for buying a Magic the Gathering Commander deck would get spent for something else. So putting that with a very intentional motion of entering an account number and then pushing transfer, it also has some dopamine hit, because I noticed that whenever I put some money away to the side, it's also something like, okay, I did something for me, or something useful for me, So that is my plan, my practice that I want to incorporate even more. I started that a couple of months ago, but yeah, just wanted to talk about this because, again, for me, it's all about replacing one thing for another, because it is hard to just tell yourself, I'm not going to do that. You always will be tempted, but if you replace it with something else, it is also a little bit better. Also, for example, I want to try to read a little bit more. So I recharged my old Kindle, and I kind of want to get into the habit of, instead of, for example, I deleted Instagram just an hour ago, and I want to get into the habit whenever I don't play a game on my retro gaming device. For example, if I'm just about to go to bed, I want to kind of incorporate, instead of scrolling, reading a book, for example. It's something at least that I want to try. I'm not the best reader, but yeah, I want to try it. I want to replace as many habits that I have on my phone with something else. Retro gaming, perfect. I love that. But it's not always doable. For example, when my wife is sleeping, hitting those little buttons is a little bit noisy. So I thought about reading a book. But again, I will let you know how this turns out. Let me know what you think about reading. Are you a reader? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have any of your own kind of tips for financial, not advice, but how you do deal with gear acquisition syndrome or when you want to buy new stuff, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, maybe check out my video from yesterday in the corner up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. That way we see each other tomorrow. Thank you very much.